He popped the question. No, not that question. Someone recently asked me, how do you lower cortisol levels? And immediately I thought of three things. And when I think, I speak, which can be good, but a pause might be beneficial at times. Because I don't really think he cares so much about his cortisol levels. But that was the question he asked to try to uncover why he's tired and feeling blah and can't focus well. And he's also stressed and has gained a few more pounds around the middle. I suspect that's how he was really feeling. So my immediate answer was right, but the question was wrong. And just like relationships, there's a whole lot more you need to know about cortisol before committing to reducing it. Healthy isn't just what you do, it's who you become. I'm Dr. Vickie, and this is Healthy Looks Great on You, a lifestyle medicine podcast to help you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your well-being. Life tested, doctor approved. I think the reason everyone is focused on lowering cortisol levels is because it's got a reputation as the stress hormone. And it's hard to get past a negative name. But here's the deal. Cortisol is necessary for life. In fact, without cortisol, your body goes into crisis. Cortisol fluctuates based on the time of day, stress, and physical demands, but what you don't want is for it to remain chronically elevated because that can wreck your health. So let's go to mini medical school and study cortisol before we try to shut it down. And yes, I'm going to give you some very practical tools for regulating cortisol. But first, let's learn some basics. There are two little triangular glands on top of your kidneys called the adrenal glands, and they release cortisol. You may have heard the term adrenal fatigue to refer to brain fog, fatigue, and body aches. The claim is that continuous chronic demand to produce cortisol causes the adrenal glands to just kind of peter out. But this is medical school, and experts do not recognize adrenal fatigue as real. Sorry, but reputable scientists like those at Harvard have reviewed the data, and it just doesn't hold up. People who talk a lot about adrenal fatigue on social media are usually trying to sell you a supplement. The truth is that people with fatigue and other symptoms don't have lower cortisol levels from those who feel just fine. Low cortisol can certainly be a problem. I had an adrenal crisis when I was trying to wean off of high-dose steroids. I can tell you what that feels like. Plus, there are medical conditions that people are either born with or they acquire, diseases like Addison's, that do cause low cortisol, and they have to take a medication. But that's not the same thing, and clearly there is something going on if you feel bad. It's just not adrenal fatigue. But remember, the original question was how to lower cortisol. Seems like the message is out there that high levels of cortisol have consequences. And that part is true. When stress occurs, two areas of the brain, the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, signal the adrenal gland to release cortisol. You might have heard of the hypothalamic pituitary or HPA axis. And it's okay if you haven't, but here's what you need to know. Every organ system in your body responds to a surge of cortisol. Your brain goes on high alert, your liver breaks down glycogen to release stored glucose into your bloodstream. Your pancreas alters insulin production, keeping glucose in the bloodstream and ready for use. Your heart rate and blood pressure increase, getting that blood pumping to your muscles. Your immune system is toned down. Your gut is quieted, slowing digestion. Your bones tend to resorb more and build less. Your skin doesn't produce collagen, and your fat starts breaking down for energy. All of that is good in the face of a stressful situation. On top of that, cortisol levels are highest in the morning and lowest in the evening. So there's a rhythm that's in sync with your internal clock or circadian rhythm. The problem lies when you're stuck and your brain is constantly on high alert from threats and it never enjoys peace and calm. and that can cause anxiety and depression symptoms. Plus, the very system that makes you more alert can result in brain fog when those cortisol levels are chronically elevated. When your heart is ready for action all the time, the heart muscle can be damaged, and chronically elevated cortisol can lead to elevated cholesterol, triglycerides, and high blood pressure, eventually causing cardiovascular disease. Your metabolism is supposed to balance energy, but with chronically elevated cortisol levels, your appetite can get out of control, especially your sweet tooth and cravings for salty foods with saturated fat. And this can lead to weight gain, especially belly fat. Your immune system can be less effective when cortisol levels are too high because it reduces the activity and migration of white blood cells and suppresses inflammatory cytokines, and all of that works to fight off infection. Elevated cortisol levels can certainly interfere with sleep, and poor sleep can cause elevated cortisol levels, so that's a vicious cycle. Your muscles can actually get weaker with too much cortisol. So we need cortisol, just not too little and not too much. But I get it. When someone asks me how to lower cortisol, I assume they mean how can I avoid chronic elevations of cortisol, either because you feel bad or you know that increased cortisol sabotages your health. Let's look at some natural ways to get that hormone back where it belongs, in rhythm. My gut reaction answer to the question was sleep, manage stress, and lose belly fat. Maybe a little rude, but with that, he turned around and walked away. And I guess that wasn't very helpful and might feel like telling you to walk 6 miles a day, cook at home every night, relax, and sleep peacefully. I mean, good advice, but probably not happening, at least not without major effort. So most people just give up and live stressed out, struggling to sleep, and watching the needle on the scale go up. Because it's hard to know where to get started, and even if you know what you should do, doing it is another matter. So let me make it a little simpler, because there is one thing that ties it all together, and that's the gut microbiome. It pulls all the levers when it comes to your health. But it's actually easier to start repairing than you might think. Last week on the podcast, I called it the key to overall health. Tuck that truth away as we go through some practical steps to lower cortisol for better health. Because if cortisol regulation depends on sleep, stress management, and metabolism, and your gut microbiome influences all three, then the most strategic place to start is, in fact, your gut. Gut health influences sleep, contributes to stress management, and plays a huge role in appetite regulation, which in turn affects belly fat. Without good sleep, your cortisol levels can go up at night. Remember, that's what makes your brain alert and your body wired and ready for action. The flip side of that is true as well. Cortisol spikes during the night can absolutely disrupt your sleep. I could talk about sleep all day long, and maybe that would actually put you to sleep. But today, I want to tell you what you can do for your gut microbiome to promote better sleep. To smooth out the rocky relationship between your gut microbiome and your sleep, you need a diet rich in fiber, antioxidants, and probiotics. Melatonin is the sleep hormone, and it's made from serotonin, which is mostly made in the gut. The gut microbiome influences brain serotonin indirectly through the gut-brain axis. My top recommendation for foods to promote sleep are things like tart cherries, kiwi, oats, walnuts, and pumpkin seeds, plus probiotic foods like sauerkraut. Now, these foods don't actually make you sleepy, they just help synchronize your body's internal clock so that you sleep at bedtime and you're alert when you're supposed to be during wake time. Managing stress is the heart of keeping cortisol levels from skyrocketing. But what if managing stress wasn't so much a matter of the heart or even the head, but the belly? A gut reaction is a real thing, and an unhealthy gut microbiome can contribute to anxiety. Unfortunately, stress can send your brain signals that you want sweets and junk food, when what your gut really needs is healthy fatty acids like omega-3s, plus complex carbohydrates and magnesium, which has a calming effect. Foods for relaxation include things like nuts and seeds, dark leafy greens like spinach, whole grains such as oats or whole wheat or barley, berries, citrus fruits, and herbal teas. Wait a minute, that's not the sugar bowl, is it? Don't put that sugar in your tea. Put that teaspoon away, because sugar causes your glucose levels in your bloodstream to spike and then drop, and that triggers the release of cortisol. And sugar is inflammatory. It is detrimental to the gut microbiome, and therefore it affects stress, sleep, and of course, belly fat. Another thing that causes an increase in cortisol levels is dehydration. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water, not sugar-sweetened beverages like the sweet tea folks drink here in the South. And listen, in this part of the world, it's easy to get dehydrated because it can get really hot and humid in the summer. But grab your big jug of water and head outside anyway, because time in nature is scientifically proven to lower stress, and that in turn lowers cortisol levels. You may be looking for a shortcut and wondering if you need probiotics and prebiotics. Well, they absolutely help with stress management because they help lower cortisol. You don't have to take a supplement though. You can get what you need from food, and I'd love to tell you how. But first, I want to mention another natural way to lower cortisol. In your quest to conquer belly fat, you've probably at least tried to get more exercise. That's a great idea because endorphins that are released when you work out help lower cortisol. And exercise burns calories, decreases stress, and fitness is an essential health strategy. But yes, exercise does increase cortisol levels, but it really helps with the balance. So there you have it. Just do all the right things, none of the wrong things, and you'll be just fine, right? Wrong. It's so hard to know where to start, and once you start, how to keep on track. And that's why I'm inviting you to spend some time with me personally. I'd love to walk alongside you and show you what to do for your health, but more importantly, how to put what you know into practice and get results. Like this woman who said, I've had some good wins this week, planning for appropriate evening snacking when I was up late at a ball game. Knowing I needed something to help me stay alert until past 10 p.m., I drank plain, unsweet tea on the way to the game. And I ate peanuts. During the game, I certainly ate more than I should have, but that plan helped me resist getting soda and sweets. And when I came home, I walked right past the kitchen and upstairs. Beyond that, I've had several days of resisting evening and before bedtime snacks. When tempted in the mid-afternoon, I've either brushed my teeth, put a mint in my mouth, or eaten something crunchy with fiber like a carrot or apple. And most days, I'm getting close to 20 grams of fiber with 2 meals. And I'm finally down several pounds. See what's possible? And you won't just be with me. You'll have a cohort of women, and we're going to do this together. So if you're feeling stressed and tired and you know something is off with your gut health, you'll get access to simple, doable ways to nourish a healthy gut microbiome. And yes, that affects cortisol levels, but it does so much more. Imagine waking up without that foggy, heavy feeling and knowing that exactly what you ate yesterday had something to do with it. I'll make it easy with recipes and meal plans that include ways to add probiotic and prebiotic foods to your diet without costing a fortune or requiring master-level chef skills. And even if you know what to do, you might be feeling stuck. And that's why I always emphasize building healthy habits as a foundation for lasting change. I can't wait to hear how focusing on your gut microbiome changes your mood, digestion, sleep, and metabolism. Doors open July 1st for the next quarter of the Healthy Looks Great on You Lab. So if you're tired of starting over every Monday, this is for you. Because when you join the Healthy Looks Great on You Lab, you'll get exclusive access to a paid private Facebook community for women who get results. You can join quarterly for $55 or annually for $200, which is way less than most supplements. And instead of asking someone or listening to an influencer, get direct access to someone with decades of medical experience. I won't be your doctor, but I will be your guide, and I hope to see you in the Healthy Looks Great on You Lab, because healthy really does look great on you.
The information contained in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not considered to be a substitute for medical advice. You should continue to follow up with your physician or healthcare provider and take medication as prescribed. Though the information in this podcast is evidence-based, new research may develop and recommendations may change.